Good morning, garden folk. So I'm over here just going ahead and giving these aren't mine, but on a job, giving these roses a hard winter prune. Out here in Phoenix, Arizona, we had a warm winter as we always kind of do. Sometimes we have cold winters, but compared to a lot of other cold temperature states and regions, a lot of roses out here tend to still have their leaves. Some hybrid teas, some floribundas, some grandifloras might lose their leaves, but typically icebergs, being resilient as they are, they'll tend to have their leaves. Right now, it is the end of January, and we're going ahead and giving all the roses a hard prune. If you're in colder climates, you probably already have roses that lost their leaves, so you can go ahead and prune them back. We're doing about a 25% to 30% hard prune back. And if your roses have leaves, feel free to strip the leaves off. I typically like to leave a few leaves. People always ask why. I forgot which college or where they did the study, but they found out that if a plant already has leaves, then it produces its own B1. So I typically like to leave a couple leaves just for that little fun fact that maybe it can still stimulate some B1 for shock and for other things, just leaving a couple leaves behind. But yeah, I go ahead and strip off all the leaves. It's the end of January. Other colder regions probably did this around end of December, beginning of January. We're doing it now. What you see me here doing is just stripping off all the leaves. This is an iceberg. Icebergs are floribunda. Icebergs are actually grandifloras, I believe. Grandiflora, I like to think of grand being bigger and floribunda, flora being closer to the ground. So that's kind of how I think. And hybrid teas typically grow fewer flowers, but the blooms are way, way bigger. People typically like to use grandifloras and hybrid teas as cut flowers, more so hybrid teas because the flowers are larger and they shoot out on one stem. But whatever's your choice, a pretty rose is a pretty rose. Those are just some things just to throw out there. And I'm just going ahead and making my rounds. Got a lot of work to do at this job. Typically, something like this take 10-15 minutes, depending on how fast you want to go. I go ahead and rip off and defoliate the rose. That way I can actually get a view of what cuts I want to make. Because if you're really, really good, I guess you could dive in there and make your cuts. But as a few people in the past that kind of taught me how to do this, you can always take something away, but you can't glue anything back on. So me, I like to just kind of hurry up and defoliate real quick to get a bird's eye view of what I want to cut off, and that way I can make an accurate decision. And just remember, check for broken branches first. You want to cut off the dead or anything looking weak and sick. Then I go ahead and cut off anything looking really, really small, like it's not really going to serve a purpose, so all the energies can go to the bigger, stronger canes. And then I just look for anything cracking, again, just broken, dead, or diseased. Then I kind of start going in and looking for shape, trying to go ahead and look for anywhere from 5 to 6 to 7 good strong canes. I try to aim for an outside facing bud. If you haven't heard that before, or if I hadn't said that before, that wherever you prune, try to take that cane all the way down to the next outside facing bud so that the new growth actually starts growing out and not inwards. And then just start looking for any branches that are crossing, because all branches and canes are going to continue to get larger. So if they're crossing, or if they look like they're going to cross, they're just going to get larger and kind of grow into each other, and that's going to inhibit, well, one, that's just going to look ugly, and two, that's just not going to be good. It's going to inhibit proper growth and whatnot, and it's going to be kind of a nuisance to prune whenever you do go back in there and prune again. So 1, dead branches. 2, small insignificant branches. 3, prune down to an outside facing bud. 4, cut off any crossing canes. Do not cut off both of them. You're going to have to make a decision and just cut off the one that makes the most sense and kind of gives the best form. And try to, I say 5 to 6 to 7 canes. I think I'm mostly talking about hybrid teas and whatnot. Now, you see this iceberg that I'm doing here. It's definitely going to be more than 5 to 6 to 7 canes. Not sure exactly how many canes I left. I forgot to count. But these hybrid teas have been in the ground. Forgot how many years. Definitely more than 3-4 years. So 5 to 6 canes might be a little much, but you want to leave some good form, them being a grandiflora and whatnot. Hybrid teas would be less branches that are left behind, but grandifloras and floribundas, you can be a little bit loose about it. Just kind of watch out for crossing branches and go ahead and start thinning out that middle. I try to aim for that tornado look where everything's kind of growing outwards, but the center eye is empty. That way you got proper air growth, you got a good form, it's going to spread out, nothing's crossing, and it's going to be easy to go back in there and prune next year, and just definitely has a better look to it. And you could tell when a rose has been taken care of and kind of when it's grown wild, because when it's grown wild it just looks like a big mess and don't really have any flowers. And typically right now, after your hard prune, you want to go ahead and lay down some food. We laid down some organic berridge food. We did Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate, I believe. And then you can go ahead and lay down your other little mixtures, but just as a go-to right away quick dosage was the berridge rose food and the magnesium sulfate for new stems and new growth, and it also aids in the flower color and whatnot. And the berridge rose food just has its own little fantastic mixture. You can go with any rose food that you find in the stores. This would be the time to feed them. And after you prune everything off, rip those leaves off and feed them, go ahead and water them in and get them started. You can go ahead and even super thrive them in if you want to. I wouldn't say it's really a thing. Actually, maybe not. I take back super thrive. If you're going to throw in bare root roses, go ahead and super thrive them in if you're planting new roses. But if you're doing existing roses, super thrive isn't a necessity. Give them a chance to at least take a quick nap and then wake back up. But the food, by the time that gets activated, I think organic food takes about 3 weeks to activate. All those other non-organic foods, they get activated as soon as you water it. But either way, the plants start responding in about a few weeks. We're at the end of January once again, and I actually expect roses to kind of be budding out already. If you guys' roses haven't been budding out, I think I'm a little late on giving all these roses a hard prune. I'd say the perfect time is like first to second week into January, if not the end of December. That's usually when all the nurseries get their bare root roses anyway. Sorry about the noise in the background, guys. But yeah, end of December, beginning of January is typically target date for hard prune. Again, we're in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's really warm out here. So our roses and some of our fruit trees haven't even really went dormant all the way. I know my peach tree went dormant, but not all the roses went dormant. Some went dormant, some kept all the leaves. Obviously, you see this iceberg looks like it's not going to sleep anytime soon unless we put them to bed. So, yeah. And you can see here, I'm just kind of just going in and making my decision on which cut to cut after I took off all the leaves. I could see which ones I'm wanting to cut and which ones I'm wanting to keep, and trying to go ahead and cut anything growing on the inside. Just go ahead and emptying out that inside or clearing it out, just giving some breathing room and going for shape and whatnot. And ideally altogether knocking it back 25% minimum. Sometimes I like to go crazy and do 30%. Sometimes just keep it in that 25. Definitely don't do nothing crazy like 40 or 50. Just know, guys, you cut off a lot. Um, it's going to have a hard time regenerating. But I've seen plants do amazing things, so I'm just saying, safe zone, 25%. Climbers, good question. Climbers, they say, just kind of just nip them off. You want to do, I would just do like 20%, 10%. You want to get those things as big as possible. Unless you're doing a hard prune and starting all the way over. Climbers, I only do like minimum percentage. Deadhead, feed, and get those things as big as I can. So I'm going to let you guys just enjoy the video. Go ahead and just watch and how I do this. And thanks for watching. So this is the end of the job. We got done pruning everything. Not all these are not the icebergs. The icebergs are on the side. What I'm showing you now are just the rosebush trees and some hybrids and floribundas. That's one that we kept. It was blooming pretty heavily. And that's it. The icebergs are over there in the back. If you can see them, they're a little bit larger. Alright, garden folk. Hope you enjoyed the video. Over and out. Till next time.